logistics, though. Let's get to the logistics. We know that Black women are earning college degrees faster than anybody else. Many of us are doing like we're doing, Iyanla. We're getting those terminal degrees, those JDs, MD, PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out-earning men.
Yes.
In 22 of the largest cities in America, including where I live, New York, D.C., L.A., you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man, so I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if
a bus
he owns
driver?
the bus? If he owns
No.
it. If he owns the bus,
See, that's a
Iyanla.
problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalanced. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself. My son got his first job when he was 9. 9, okay? Because you're a Black man, you will know how to take care of yourself. But I think the way we measure it, it's just obsolete. Criteria that we use to measure men is off for
I know people are dissecting and having the discussion with Iyanla, and that woman. I apologize. I don't know what her name is, but what I want to talk about, women today. What I'm hearing as I'm in these internet streets, women are wanting help in the household. They're wanting emotional intelligence and a decent partner that is helping out, and a man that understands how to help out in the home. I have seen this time and time again where the finances might get discussed a lot, but what is lacking in discussion is housework. So Pew Research put out, even when women make more or work more, they are still doing more housework. So can we talk about, on top of, compatibility, how much housework are they doing? If they are not working as much, if they're not bringing in as much income, are they helping out? So what I have circled in yellow, the wives are the green part, the light green. So when a wife works more, she is still working more in the home with caregiving. She's still working more in the house as far as housework and doing chores. So the man, even if he's working less, he's not making up for it, according to Pew Research. Now, down at the bottom where I have it highlighted in blue, the man is not working at all. The woman is the sole breadwinner. And even when this happens, look at the caregiving, look at the housework. The housework is still mostly being done by the woman, who is also the one that is bringing in the income. The caregiving is sad. The man, yes, he has all of the time, but his caregiving numbers is still just 2 hours more than the woman, but his leisure time is popping. He got all the time in the world for that. I then went over to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Let's talk about this. This is for full-time work. So if you look at the little blue lines that I made, if you look at the white categories, black categories, Asian and Hispanic or Latino ethnicity, Black women are the only ones in this that have more people in the workforce than the men. Look at all of the other ones. White men work more than white women. Asian men work more than Asian women. And Hispanic men work more than... Black women are the only ones that are outworking the men. I have the earnings highlighted in purple, but Black men are the only ones that make just slightly more than the women. Every other category of men, they make at least $100 or more than the women. I want to come back to this chart from the Bureau of Labor Statistics because it is pretty important for this discussion for us as Black people. I want to just hammer home the fact that there are way more Black women in the labor force than Black men currently. And this does impact the discourse as far as talking about dating, marrying, and all of that. So when we continue to have these conversations, it is literally gaslighting when we are telling women that you're going to be alone. But it's like, who are we supposed to go towards if we want to still survive, have viable shelter, have money for normal things like food and taking care of ourselves? Like, look at this where I have it highlighted in red. These numbers are in thousands of workers. There are literally 8.4 million Black women in the workforce. There are 7.8 million men, Black men in the workforce. So that is a pretty big disparity right there. Now, also, if you look at the income, the weekly income currently for the first part of 2023 for Black men and Black women, and I have it pulled out and I did the multiplication for us. Hold on. Currently, the weekly income for Black men is $900 a week, $909 per week. For Black women is $862 per week. When you multiply that by 50, that is taking into account that we might have vacation. So I multiplied it by 50 weeks. Black men are making about $45,450 as far as a median. Black women about $43,000. That disparity is not that big. That gap is not that big when you talk about medians. So why am I saying this? Our relationships also need to be a little bit more egalitarian as far as when we start talking about the housework, the emotional labor, being partners in discourse. We need to move away from all of the talk about submission and who's controlling what, because we really, as a community, need to work together because these numbers are not that great. Making $45,000 a year and making $43,000 a year is not that great. Now, factor in some kids. If you got kids here, there, and everywhere, that money is being spread even thinner. So that's just something else to consider. But I just wanted to pull these numbers out, make it a little bit more plain. Y'all go ahead and tell me what you think, and like, comment, and share.